welcome to this week's episode of Charlie's Toolbox. Today we are going to talk about creating a new life and the moments that inspire you to take that action. I also want to thank you guys for being so patient with me. These last 2 to 3 weeks, I have been in the process of moving out of my old apartment into a new apartment, and I am so happy that I'm in this space. And I hope to continue to make more content for you throughout the weeks or throughout the year. So let's get back to the topic. I thought this would be a super great topic to cover because, as you guys know, it's something that I'm currently going through. And it's an action that I've always taken my whole life. It's something that my mother taught me. And she taught me that whenever she felt stagnant or unhappy or just in need of new energy, she'd pivot. So in this episode, I want to let you in on what pivoting is and how to ensure you are pivoting to do the work instead of pivoting and to run away from your problems, because there is a difference. So let's get started. There's always going to be moments in your life where you realize the environment you once loved is crushing you, or that you can't be around the people you once cherished, or you don't feel like yourself in this space or relationship, or you just outgrew a job that you once coveted. And out of nowhere, there's going to be a question that's going to arrive, and it will ask you, is there something I should do about it? And sometimes it's an easy yes. Sometimes it's just a yes, but with easy lifts. And sometimes it's a no. And you know that whatever you're feeling, it's going to pass. So the answers to these questions are really up to you. And you will know how to answer them. That's something that I am going to say. So when I was going into my transition, initially I answered my question with yes, but easy, with easy lifts. And I'm going to explain what that means. That means I made small pivots to shift the energy or the emotions that I may have felt in the time. And that looked like changing my perspective, reaching out to my community, because sometimes isolation may be the things that are stirring up those feelings. Going to therapy, finding ways outside of my norms to have fun and be joyful, getting a new apartment, incorporating yoga, creating distance from some people who may kind of put a gloom on your mood, confiding in my community, asking for mentorship, or journaling, or going on vacation, because sometimes you just need a little break from your city and you need to take a moment and just rest so that you can enjoy the place that you live. And I just kind of did and tried everything that Solange said in Cranes in the Sky, and it didn't shift. It didn't shift. It didn't shake up anything. It didn't impact my energy. And I really understand, I've always resonated with that song, but I really understand, like, when you're chasing something and you're trying to find that happiness, sometimes those easy lifts are not the solution. So I had to think bigger. And I decided to do something about these feelings. Now, I could have accepted this feeling, this state of being, this, energy for what it was, and decided that I'm okay with living like this. And some people are okay with that, and that's their decision to make. I don't pass any judgments. I just feel like those decisions are yours to make, and you will know what's appropriate and right for you. But for me, I felt like I deserved more. I felt like I deserved so much more than what I was feeling and experiencing. So, if you are in a rut and you feel like this, we deserve to live light. We deserve joy, and we deserve an engaging life. And that is something that I set out to do. So I pivoted again, and I decided to move to another state. And now I'm not in New York anymore. I'm in a different state, and I'm so glad that I made that decision for myself. Now, this decision wasn't the solution to my happiness. Okay, those big pivots, those small pivots are often not really the solution to your feelings. And I need to make this clear because so many people think moving away or making a drastic change or cutting your hair, dyeing your hair, rearranging your room, those changes will solve your unhappiness. And that is often not the case. That's often not the case. Happiness in its truest form is not circumstantial. Happiness in its truest form can be cultivated at any time under any circumstance. So your shift needs to be in support of care. And I'm going to break that down, what that means, because a lot of people think, the pivot is the thing that's going to make you happiness, but it's not. It's the work that you're going to do that makes you happy. So I'll give an example of this. I made the decision to move. I made that decision because I wanted to give myself more energy and more time to take care of myself. And for some reason, this past year in New York, it was very taxing on my mind and spirit. I was very anxious. I was very stressed. And all the time that I needed to take care of myself, I used that up on small tasks, on dealing with hassles on my everyday life, on arguing with people on the street, on dealing with all this anxious energy around me or this chaotic energy around me. And I was just very tired of fighting the city. And not only was I tired of fighting the city, I was fighting the city while trying to take care of myself. And those two things will zap your energy. I had no energy left for anything else. So I moved to a state where it is not as busy, not as stressful, not as taxing, because it allows me to regain the energy I lost on dealing with hassles in New York. I don't have those hassles here. So I can take this energy, this extra energy that I used in New York just to survive and to, thrive in that city. I can use that energy to pour into myself and to heal myself and find my own happiness. Now I'm happy, but I know that there's more to discover. So that's something that I needed. So when you are pivoting, you need to get into the decision. You need to go into the decision and understand what you need. I pivoted because I needed time for self-care. And the city that I was living in didn't provide that for me. So I moved to a place that I could take back my energy to pour into me. Now, you may need something different. You may need more challenges because you are bored with, say, for instance, your work or your career. So you can pivot into a career that does that for you. Or you may need community. So you can pivot and move into an environment that fosters that for you. The point is to figure out what that is or what it is plaguing you or what you need to feel like yourself, and pour and do things and create environments and make decisions to support that. And if you are confused about what it is that you need and you just know that there's some it's a yearning, a feeling of aching, that you know that is something more to it, that you know that you need to dig deeper, you know that you need to create an environment to support this love and this care. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself to gather data and to figure out more about yourself. And they're just 3 easy questions, but they mean a lot, and they are great for self-reflection and to figure out what it is you need to pivot from and what you should pivot to. All right. So the first one is, when you are unmasking, what about that environment makes you feel comfort? And this question is great for figuring out your needs and spaces. When you unmask, you are at your most comfortable. You can be yourself. And you could be yourself in the environment. You can be yourself with those people. So that environment and those people should clue you into what you may need. So you'll say, it is the reason why I could be vulnerable, the reason why I can unmask is because they make me feel seen. So when you pivot, you find a community that makes you feel seen. You stop seeking what you've been seeking in the past and you pivot to something that is going to support your care. Number 2, if you had no restrictions like finances or time, what would you be doing? Now, this question gives you insight into what you are missing, and you can use this data to slowly start incorporating it into your life. So if it's some time, then maybe carve out 10 minutes for yourself. That could be your pivot. Instead of wasting your time on, social media or whatever it is that you may be distracting yourself with, you can every day decide to take 10 minutes of your day to take care of yourself, to meditate, to give back to you. So that's just these 2 questions are questions on data. They give you the data you need to understand what you need to pivot to. And finally, this is a very easy question to ask yourself. Is it an easy lift, like an easy solve? Or do you need to make a drastic change in order to support your care? Now, when I was in New York initially, I really didn't need that much. If I felt a way, I would just go and seek community. When I didn't feel good, I would just go outside. But as time, passed, I realized that these easy lifts weren't solving my problem. So I had to make a very drastic change. So when you ask yourself that questions, you need to make sure that you exhausted all your choices and your options to see if this is a easy solve, or you need to decide whether or not you need to make a lifestyle change to better take care of yourself. And that is for you to understand. That is for you to decide. These are just questions that can help guide you to those answers. I think that, you guys need to use these questions as a tool for self-reflection, and your answers are going to reveal everything. They're going to tell you everything about what you need to do. And if you are interested in what it takes to pivot, I'm going to release a part 2 on Sunday, and that episode will include what you need to do to prepare for that pivot. What happens once you pivot? I will talk about some of the skills you need to bring to the table or develop to pivot and find peace in that pivot. So on that note, you all take care.